Salute Knicks Nation. Let's talk about this game. As the Knicks drop a tough one at home in the NBA Cup, crash out of the NBA Cup quarterfinals to the Atlanta Hawks, losing 108-100. This one was basically a collapse in the third quarter. The Knicks were in control of a ball game, and the defense of the Atlanta Hawks went up another notch, and the Knicks just didn't have an answer for that, right? We haven't seen our offense this dysfunctional this season yet in that third quarter. So for that, you've got to tip your cap to the Atlanta Hawks, right? They played harder in this one. Some questionable decisions from Tibbs as well. But all in all, I think there was a lot of bark from the Knicks, but no bite, you know. The first half, we were the better team. The Knicks were the better team in the first and second quarters. However, just didn't come out ready in that third quarter and lost the lead. And then, like MSG said, there was no lead change. Again, there was only one lead change in the entire game, which is crazy. Kind of left shell-shocked in a way. But look, Atlanta, are that team where styles, when styles make fights, they match up well against the New York Knicks. There's been a type of team that gives the Knicks troubles this season, and that is a team with length, length on the wing. We saw it in Atlanta when the Knicks lost that ball game in the ATL, and tonight we saw it again, when they take their defense up a notch. And obviously we're going to talk about the referees as well. When they do allow that certain, level of physicality, it makes things a hell of a lot harder for the New York Knicks, but we just have to adjust, right? So this is a good kick in the butt, I feel, and the Knicks got to reassess, I guess, with bodies coming back. We're going to talk about the imminent return of Landry Shamet, Mitchell Robinson, an update on him as well that we got earlier today as well. But the Knicks were in control of this ball game. Free throws missed early in the first half, self-inflicted as well. And we just didn't come out with the requisite intensity in that third quarter. You're going toe-to-toe, literally, against a team that wants it more than you. And that's what I saw tonight. I saw an Atlanta team that just wanted it more than the New York Knicks in that third quarter as well. The first half, I thought Cat showed really, really good energy, good hustle, all of those things. But the third quarter, it just went missing. And then you thought, can Atlanta continue to shoot poorly? The first half, Atlanta couldn't hit the backside of the ocean, and basically, that wasn't going to continue. And they came out in the third quarter and hit shots. But Brunson was bad tonight. Brunson was definitely a guy who, couldn't get to his spots. The physicality was bothering him, and we've seen it all season with the length, not just Atlanta, but we've seen a whole lot of other teams as well give the Knicks, issues on that side of the floor as well. Karl-Anthony Towns in foul trouble when you just can't really make that stuff up, when they were allowing and overturning fouls that were called on the New York Knicks as well. But with that said, man, just chill out in the chat, man. I appreciate your energy, but I got to give you a timeout, fam, because you're spazzing out right now, man. Just keep it cool, and we keep going because it's one loss, and obviously we're all frustrated, fam. But there's no need for a head loss like that, fam. With that said, we're gonna break it down. We're gonna give the grades out like we always do. And look, obviously, this game meant more to Atlanta. I mean, that's all you got to say. 100 grand or not, NBA Cup or not. The Knicks will get a little bit of a break, and then we'll face the Orlando Magic, basically, with a couple days break, and we have to come back and bounce back. But right now, there's going to be some changes, and I think you'll learn a lot about yourself when you go toe-to-toe with better competition. And look, as a Knicks fan, I wanted better competition because we want to see what this team is made of early before the playoffs even begin. So we can adjust, we can tweak some things on the roster if we need. Because obviously, there's been some guys that, haven't given us the consistency level that we want to see. And Mikal Bridges is obviously top of the list when it comes to that. But obviously, there's going to be a lot of, frustrations going around. I look at this like it's one game, and obviously it's one we really, really want to win. And I hate Atlanta. I hate Trae Young. There's no doubt about it. But at the end of the day, when the dust will settle, it's one game, and we're in a good position still. We're 15-10, and I think we're going to learn a lot about this team. It's still very early in the season, But what I've learnt so far, which I'm here to give you, the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, is that, yeah, the New York Knicks have a whole lot of bark, but no bite right now. We need to get some dogs up in here right now. And I love the fight. I love the hustle from Karl-Anthony Towns, but from Jalen Brunson, there's no bite right now. There's no bite with Jalen Brunson right now. Hart, undersized, is battling hard right now, but there's only so much he can do. Exactly like Bill Daughtry, was telling us, a lot of people were calling us negative, and Bill Daughtry coming on, giving us the truth of how he sees this Knicks team. And I would say it's come true so far for the most part. The Knicks need some added toughness. Tough blow to lose Deuce McBride in this one. And, we missed him late in the game. Obviously, the refs were bugging on that one when the guy was basically on his back as well. And couldn't get a foul call, right? Precious, fourth game back, you can't expect the world from him. Obviously, Mitchell Robinson is an upgrade, and we're waiting on that to happen as well. Do the Knicks' patience run out with that, and try to get another big? That is something to watch as well. There has been a lot of conversations having around with the December trade period set to open up, but yeah, for the most part, you guys are bringing the fire tonight. The Knicks were soft in that third quarter. And look, our offense has been really special this year so far, but the length, there's not much you can do when you're trying to move the ball and they've got good one-on-one defenders. And I think the Knicks need to come up with a better scheme, and basically need to play faster. Because when you do play really slow, you walk the ball up the court, you're playing into the hands of the half-court defense. Dyson Daniels, I mean, he's all NBA first team defense, and he's all defensive team, and a defensive player of the year candidate. Jalen Johnson, Capella. I mean, we need to play with a faster pace, and that's where the Knicks, lost their cool as well. So yeah, Deuce McBride, I think it was a leg injury. He fell awkwardly. He did miss a couple games already this year as well, so he did fall awkwardly for a loose ball, and an Atlanta player was all over him, and there was no foul call on that one. So we're going to bring the fire for these referees, because, I mean, OG getting smacked in the face, no foul call on that. I mean, but look, it ended 108-100. The Knicks limped over the line and got to 100 points, but this was lost in one quarter. Not the fourth quarter, not the first, not the second. It was the third quarter. And against better competition, you have to play 4 quarters, 48 minutes. That's what Tibbs preaches. That's what Tibbs preaches. 48 minutes. You can't have a letdown, in one quarter. So let's get to some comments. Buzzer says the loss is soul crushing. Yeah, I'm really frustrated, and I understand most of the fans' frustration in this one. But at the end of the day, the NBA Cup is something that wasn't high on my priority. I'm looking at it like it's one game at the moment, and we just got to adjust and learn from this. Mike Blaze says, sorry, but Mitch isn't the key. This team is soft, and the shots are inconsistent. I don't think the team is soft, per se. I think, offensively, our schemes work well against certain lineups, against extra length, the isolation, can't happen. We definitely need to get quicker shots in the shot clock and get more possessions. But yeah, Atlanta are a real deal defensively. We ran into a good defensive team. B. Willis says we need more scoring off the bench, and we can do something about it ASAP. Our bench has no firepower. I think on that front, I mean, all I can say is we got some good news that Landry Shamet is a guy that could be returning sooner rather than later. I think we expect to see him return in December. We've heard some great news that he's taking contact now and he's progressed. So expect to see maybe Landry Shamet come back on this roster. And I think, for whatever you think about Landry Shamet, at least we're not going to rely so much on Cameron Payne and Deuce McBride. He is another NBA rotation player that can score off the bench. So yeah, as soon as he's ready to go, I would bring him in. And yeah, I understand your thoughts on Mitch, guys. We're going to see what he looks like. first and foremost. We're going to see what he looks like before we even think about, heaping the whole expectations on him. However, that said, I mean, he's a game changer. Mitchell Robinson is a game changer for me. We see it on nights like this. I mean, Capella been giving us problems for a long, long time, and so obviously we need that extra size. And Cat was doing his best, rebounded really well. Did Cat, but yeah, obviously when they've got the pick and roll threat of Trae Young, who can float, he can shoot the deep three, or he can facilitate for others. He's a triple threat. But we're going to start with the referees, guys. Continue bringing the fire tonight. The referees, basically, I mean, I've never seen anything like it, man. It was WWE out there. Forget that. It was UFC with OG taking shots to the face. It was clear that they've been told a message to let everything go. And tonight, it reached a stupid level, which was crazy. I mean, they get an F for me right now. And Wall Street Dame says, "What's going on, CT? Look, we're a team still learning about ourselves. We're learning about ourselves. We're a very good offensive team, but defensively, we're not where we need to be." And Mikal Bridges guarding the pick and roll on the perimeter is an issue. I think some people have been ignoring it for a while. I'm not going to ignore it. I think something needs to change, an adjustment. No doubt Deuce McBride is our best on-ball defender, and I've been singing that praise for 2 weeks now. I don't know what Tibbs is going to do, because against elite pick and roll playmakers like Trae Young, who can just get over the screen, great hesitation dribble, he can get downhill. You need a better option, right? You need a better option. Dirty Dancer says with Cat in there, they have no pick and roll coverage. With Cat, they have no rebounding. Without Cat, they have no rebounding. Yet with Cat, they have no pick and roll coverage. With Cat, no rebounding. That's the concern, and I think we're relying a lot on Precious Achua and Mitch's return. So I do think Leon Rose is going to be looking. Fam. Not going to lie. The team's had interest in Marcus Smart, from what I heard, dating back to the preseason. I think he would solve a lot of perimeter defensive issues, and I think you probably understand why the Knicks were interested in a player like that. Memphis are doing really well. They're overachieving. I don't know if they would ever let him go. I think that's one name to look out for potentially, or guys just start playing better defensively. OG can only do so much, fam, defensively. David says this is the closest game to a playoff game and we failed. Yeah, you're not wrong. Definitely it was a playoff atmosphere, playoff intensity, home floor, and we crapped the bed. That third quarter was a shell shock. And I think that's something I've seen too much from this team this season, where we just lose control of a game in a certain, period, and we just can't recover. And that's on Tibbs, so we're going to bring a grade for Tibbs coming up, fam. And, on that note, I'm going to give Tibbs a D for tonight. The adjustments were poor. He sat, Brunson and Cat too long in that fourth quarter. There was a lineup without Brunson and Cat. I didn't like that as well, when you're trying to get back into the ball game as well. For those that don't know, we were without Ariel Hukporti, who sprained his ankle playing for Westchester. But he's day-to-day, so that's nothing long-term as well. And as we get to the player grades in a minute, the player updates, like I said, Tom Thibodeau confirmed that Landry Shamet is making steady progress in his rehab, and he's taking contact now as well. So I don't know why we signed Matt Ryan. I've been really underwhelmed with him. Not that I expected a lot, and I'm not blaming him, but I just think we could do better. And I think he needs to go back to the two-way. And the moment Landry Shamet is healthy, he's a guy that needs to come in. Better bench scoring and better defense as well. AP says Leon Rose is stuck. It's not much you can do. So yeah, I want to talk about Leon Rose a bit, just on the trade front. I mean, I believe in Leon Rose, and I trust the front office, right? They've made a lot of moves, and things don't happen overnight, guys. So I'm not here to just beat a dead horse and preach patience, But what I will say is, let the front office see this team for the first half of the season and get to the trade deadline, and I think we'll make some necessary, adjustments. We have to, and obviously we've come up short against some of these teams with length, and I think you got a guy like a Pacome Dadier, like a Sandman was saying in the chat. I did see that earlier, Sandman, and the Pacome Dadier situation is a little puzzling for me. I like his length. I like his size as well. Kyle Kuzma could be available. Yeah, I do think Leon Rose isn't stupid. Clearly he's made a lot of moves, and I think there is some assets we can play around with, fam. I think the dominoes might be falling all at the right time with this, Landry Shamet update. We can finally make a move on the roster now with the trade season per se opening up, fam. Yeah, so I was one of the first to say it. I don't think this is the finished roster. For the major parts, it probably is. But when we're talking about bench players, nobody's untouchable. And potentially some of the role players in the starting five might not be untouchable. I mean, we've seen Leon Rose pull some rabbit out the hat and make a couple of shocking moves as well. So we'll see. But look, credit to Atlanta. Steve says Atlanta is a more talented team. I wouldn't say that. I understand what you're saying. I understand how they succeed, and clearly they're very reliant on the heavy pick and roll with Trey. But their defensive wings, I think they can go cold offensively at times too. We just didn't punish them. I think we kind of shot ourselves in the foot in this one, guys, because we dominated the first half, and you won't really hear me say that very often. We dominated, and we just didn't capitalize. Only up by 7 at halftime. We should have been up 15. That would have given us some grace period, in that third quarter, to allow, for a slow start. But I mean, with that said, we got to start with the captain. He just didn't have it going tonight, and look, he was at the very top of players who underperformed tonight. Did JB 5 of 15? Didn't deal with the physicality very well. Was moving the ball though. Got 8 assists, 14 points, 0 in the plus minus, 2 turnovers, a steal and a block. But just one of those nights where Brunson just couldn't get to his spots. We saw it in Atlanta. We saw it again. So, I would have loved to see him just continue to distribute, get the team in their sets quickly, and try to get some downhill buckets. As I'll just pull up the team stats, to see where the fast break points were at tonight. Right, the fast break points, the New York Knicks got absolutely killed, 20-10. Yeah, 20-10. That's your ball game right there, fam. So yeah, Trae Young, quick bucket down the court. They were cherry picking a lot as well, and we just don't seem to get those easy buckets. For as good as our offense has been, it's been very reliant on our hot shooting. In the half court as well. Ball movement's been great, but yeah, eventually you're going to go through a lean patch where your shooting ain't great. So the Knicks got to find ways to pick up that pace and get better fast break buckets, in my opinion, because you just can't rely on shooting hot, right? Eventually our percentage is going to come down, and boy, did it come down tonight, man. 26% from distance, right? But we got 11 blocks, 8 steals. But yeah, the referees just made things so difficult tonight in this one, man. I mean, giving the referees their F on that one, fam. But Landry Shamet, I think, will come into the fold. Ariel Huckporty will be back soon, out day to day. Mitchell Robinson, however, not a great update, fam. Not a great update from Shams, and that is that Mitchell Robinson ain't expected to be back until cleared until late January, maybe even early February. So could that be the catalyst for Leon Rose to get more aggressive? Right, Nick Richards is apparently on the trading block, is a name that I've been hearing as well. And keep your eye out in Portland as well, because they've got Robert Williams, they've got Klingon, they've got Ayton, and they've got Duop Reith. And there's supposed to be a fire sale happening in a minute. And so is the Washington Wiz with Jonas Valanciunas, fam. as well. Yeah, a lot of people have issues with the F Trae Young stuff. I see you, Jay Mars, Julian. I think it uh, seems I was lagging for a second. Hopefully, I'm back, fam. Let me know in the chat if I'm good. Looks like I dropped out for a second. Okay, looks like I'm back. Yeah, for JB, pull up his grade. Frustrating night, man, for JB. Always grade him with a harder, a bigger microscope. JB gets a C for me tonight, man. He just didn't have a great game. Didn't have a great game, man. Defensively, was struggling. Sandman says would love Klingon. I think he's their keeper, but you might be able to get Robert Williams. But I think Valanciunas, Nick Richards could be the go. Yeah, Mitch leading us astray maybe a little bit. Who knew? It was tough to buy into that, man. Dirty Dancer. With that said, I think it was always a tricky situation. Once again, Bill Daughtry and his wisdom, an old head, being around for so long. He kind of foreshadowed that it'd be a tough road to recovery for Mitch. But we want to stay optimistic. But yeah, Leon Rose will have first scoop because yeah, he's in the locker room and he'll know how the rehab is going, man. What's up, Eddie? Says Tibbs sucks, period. I think you've got to judge the team as a whole and on their record, but obviously, yes, styles make fights. And if you want to advance, you have to be able to beat these teams at, your Achilles, defensive wings, length. Right now, we just didn't have an answer offensively. I mean, like I said, I think my keys would be to run up and down and get up and down a bit faster, but our personnel just doesn't suit that as much. Brunson already, starting to get fatigued, I feel. Do you guys think that Brunson's performances, these lapses, are down to fatigue? It does look like he's a bit leggy right now. Troy, appreciate it. Says I'm all good now. I hope Kawhi doesn't get back before Mitch on that one. Yeah, James is spot on. I see you. Says we let them hang around and beat us bad in that second half. We let them hang around in the first, and yeah, they've probably got a nice sort of morale boost, in that at halftime, thinking, man, we're still in this game. Let's come out with energy. And yeah, look, simply put, the best way I can describe this team is there's a whole lot of bark, but at times there's no bite, And I think we do need a couple of dogs in the locker room, and I think that's something Leon Rose has got to address. I do think that sometimes we're feeling ourselves a little bit. We're coasting through games. We coast at the start of games. It comes down to maybe we do respect the opponent, but maybe we just coast so much throughout the game that we think our talent is just gonna click, and we could just turn on a switch. I see a whole lot of guys trying like Hart, OG. I think the energy levels in Mikal Bridges aren't there. Brunson and Cat, we already know they're not defensive minded players. So I think we are vulnerable at times, and I think if we had to play a Dallas in a series, I mean, I would probably take Dallas because they've got length, they've got the offense to go toe to toe with us. I think we are better than Atlanta still, even though we've lost both games. But I do think we have to take these teams seriously. We weren't able to beat Cleveland. Boston, we've only played once. We're going to face the Magic again as a consequence of losing tonight. We're going to face the Magic after a couple of days of rest. They're going to want to try to get revenge on us. Obviously, no Franz, no Paolo, though. we can't drop that one, man. We can't drop that one. B. Willis says Jalen twisted his ankle last game. Yeah, he did, man. Great point. Appreciate that. And I do think he's a bit leggy at the moment as well. But yeah, he was questionable at times. Yeah, for Tibbs, I mean, there's some things I like about Tibbs, and I've been, vocal about. There's some things that I don't like about Tibbs, and I think ultimately the results will be, his downfall if we don't, progress in the playoffs. I think he will be given the season, though. I don't think there'll be any shake-up mid-season. I think there's a lot of respect in the locker room, and I think there's a lot of, hype still to progress in the playoffs and make this a memorable season. But I mean, look, Tibbs is his own worst enemy sometimes, and guys got to stay healthy. So yeah, let's see what happens. But look, I do trust Leon Rose. I believe that he'll make adjustments. I think his track record speaks for itself because he's made an in-season trade every year, and every year it's sort of paid dividends. We got Derrick Rose. That was the catalyst to the 4th seed. We got Josh Hart. That was a huge catalyst to propel us on a huge run. We got OG Anunoby, of course, as well. We made the Bogdanovich, the Alec Burks trade for Quentin Grimes. That worked out as well, I think, for the postseason. So I think, yeah, if more of these losses happen, I think it's going to give Leon Rose, that ammo to see what's up. Hidalgo says this game's on Tibbs. Team looked lethargic in that second half, tired legs. Yeah, I could see that happening. I also feel disappointed if that is the case because, I mean, how much juice do you need? I mean, it's NBA Cup, 100 grand each for every player on the bench and the coaches to win this ball game. You're at home, the crowd's fired up. I mean, we should have, we should have been in a position where, we didn't need any extra motivation early in this one, man. I think scheme-wise, and we're going to talk about Mikal Bridges next up, and look at Mikal Bridges' number, man. Give us your honest thoughts about Mikal Bridges right now. Mario says Memphis would beat us right now. We haven't faced Memphis much, but I think the regular season's about learning about our team. But yeah, I think we're vulnerable against teams with toughness, and length right now, and we need to play at a faster pace, get more shots up. I like the unselfishness. The extra pass is great sometimes, but when you're playing against like elite defenses, you have to respect their ability to get in the passing lane and get deflections and guide you one-to-one really, really solid. So the more passes you make, the more chance you're going to give the defender a chance to pick up a steal. So I think we're playing hard at times. We're not playing smart. I think, open shot, you got to take it. Sometimes you might pass up a good shot thinking you can get a great shot, but you end up with a worse shot. You know what I'm saying? Basically, like Mike D'Antoni says, the first good shot you get is the best shot. That's the shot you need to take. And I think we are overpassing it a little bit, fam, with the ball movement. Because sometimes you ain't going to get a better shot. Bridges, 9 of 17, finished with 4 rebounds, 19 points, but a team worse. And this is a game where I think the plus-minus doesn't lie. Minus 17 for the Bridge, man. Mikal Bridges, man, minus 17. Look, the points are nice. Efficiency was nice tonight, although I think a couple of momentum threes didn't go down. It seems to be the story, man, of Mikal Bridges' season. Those momentum threes aren't dropping, and it's the jump shot, it's the combination of the lift, and I think it's just he's not setting his feet at times. And look, mid range is deadly, but I mean, right now, man, it's really tough. I'm going to give Mikal Bridges a D, man. Which is tough because look, efficiency was there, but I do think for that third quarter where we lost the game, defensively we were just lost, and Brunson was bad as well. I mean, I've given Brunson a C for that one. Chance says the season is long. So I think we'll need to find our groove. These guys do need at least 1 to 2 more bench guys to get significant minutes sooner rather than later. Yeah, I think this season is young still, but yeah, I think we're seeing some clear holes, and I think we need to be truthful about it. If you're Leon Rose, I think, end of the bench guys, but some wing defenders would be great. I don't know if we could get a Herb Jones, but yeah, if Herb Jones or Trey Murphy becomes available, I mean, we need to be the first people on the call, man. Um, those guys would help a lot. Marcus Smart, like I said, is another guy. He would bring toughness. I think he would bring attitude. I think he would bring some experience as well right now. But the silver lining is the playoffs haven't begun, fam. So, like I said, I'm not losing my head over one regular season NBA Cup game, but this is definitely telling us that we got work to do, and we need to pull our pants up and get some toughness right now, because on the perimeter we're going to get eaten alive. I mean, not going to lie, it's going to be a repeat of the Boston opening night if we don't get some toughness. Ideally, a guy on the perimeter that can defend, and then maybe an insurance big, like a Walker Kessler. He would be top of my list. Valanciunas, Nick Richards, I would look at just some more deterrence in the paint, and get Cat at the 4. I think get Cat at the 4 situation. Jimmy Butler, I would avoid. I'm not going to go down that route just yet, but that could be interesting. We know there's history with Tibbs. Sandman says, if I'm Leon, I'm calling Utah, asking what they want for Walker Kessler. That's a good shout, but I mean, they're going to want a lot, man. They're going to want the world. But the good thing is, I guess that Utah are rebuilding, so they're probably going to want more draft picks rather than players. But they're probably going to take Tyler Kolek. They'll probably take Pacome Dadier. He'll probably ask for those guys as well. There's no guarantee Shamet will play once he's back, but I think he's another guy that's going to come in and at least give us something if Cam doesn't have it going. Buzzer Beater says, CT, what do you think of Deuce and Cam, or Deuce and Brunson? I like Deuce and Brunson together. Deuce and Cam can be hot and cold sometimes. The dribbling and the over dribbling does hurt us at times as well. A lot of teams get easy buckets, but we like to operate in the half court, and Jalen Brunson just doesn't operate with the urgency sometimes. The ball movement's good. I can't fault him there, but I think sometimes we just play a bit too slow. Leroy says, this game is so embarrassing. I think national TV, big spotlight. We let our guard down in that third quarter, but we'll bounce back. I mean, we're 5 games above 500 still. There's a lot of teams that would love to be in our position. Indiana, Philadelphia. I mean, there's been a lot of teams embarrass themselves more than us. I think we are better than the Bucks still. I think we are the 3rd best team in the East so far. But again, how much is that saying? Orlando is suffering from a lot of injuries, slow starts to these other teams. So we definitely need to pick things up real quick, because we're going to blink, guys, before we know it, and we're going to be at the 40 game mark. We're going to be at the halfway point very soon. Now we've approached 25 games. There's only 15 games remaining till we hit the halfway. And so, there's a lot of things. And tonight, as my uncle just texted me, says it was a missed opportunity. And I think that's a great way to put it. Missed opportunity, fam, to make Vegas, make some noise. But there's a silver lining to everything, man. As Joe says, go Hawks. Yeah, look, tip my cap to the Hawks tonight. I mean, you guys have a good team, a good young team, and I think Landry Fields, who's been putting some pieces together, deserves a lot of praise. They won that Dyson Daniels trade by a landslide. When you win a trade, a major trade by a landslide, that elevates your franchise pretty quickly. And especially when you hit on a draft pick like Jalen Johnson as well. They can kind of trade DeAndre Hunter now and some of the other requisite pieces, Bogdanovich, and they can supplement the rest of their squad because they've got the young fellas coming through. The Knicks have gone all in with these veterans. Knicks have gone all in on these veterans now, but we still have a little bit of wiggle room, I think, with some of these assets that we can move around. Yep. Leon Rose has got to do some things, I think. I think that's what it's going to come down to. Um, PH says, I can't stand Tibbs. I mean, Mr. Biggs. You will never win with him. I hate to say it, but his rotations are horrible, no adjustment. He continues to overplay the starters. Ridiculous. I think we've got to points where he's overplayed the starters, definitely, this season. I think if we get, some more guys that he'll trust, and I think Shamet is going to be one of those guys, I think it'll be a case of less minutes. But look, OG's been fairly durable right now. How long is that going to last? That's going to be a concern for me as well. Josh Hart is a guy that we really relied on a lot so far as well. And I think he's missed an opportunity to play Pacome Daddy, fan, most definitely on that one. So we've got the Bridges grade. Let's grade Cat right now. Cat was solid. However, the third quarter, the foul trouble came back to bite. Fouled out, 6 fouls, 19 points, 19 rebounds, 3 of 6 from the free throw line. Left a couple of points there, 2 of 6 from distance. I didn't think we went to Cat enough in this game. This is the game when we needed to spam to Cat, and that's our advantage against Atlanta. Get him going to work against Capella and Okongwu and make them call the fouls and stretch them out. We were having success in the first half. The third quarter, we just went away from that. Ended up 7 of 15 from Cat. So, what are your feelings towards Cat, guys? I mean, he's answered a lot of the questions over his toughness. I just think we're obviously seeing the limitations that he has as a center defensively. The rim protection, there's lapses at times. I think he's showing me enough fight, enough hustle, and his offense has been fantastic. He's been our best offensive player, so he deserves a pass there. But yeah, defensively, I think that's probably the biggest adjustment we're going to have to make come the second half of the season, fam. I think for as bad as Mikal Bridges has been, and that's saying a lot, I think the biggest adjustment the front office needs to make is find a dependable solution for the 5 spot right now, just so that you have at least offense defense options for the playoffs, right? Whether that's Mitch gets back healthy and he looks fantastic, that could be the solution. Whether we make a trade, that's the other solution. But right now, guys, I don't think Karl-Anthony Towns at the 5 is our get out of jail for the postseason. I think it's a look we can go to, and it's a look we could start games, matchup dependent. But I think we're going to need a better option to go to defensively, because we're basically exhausting Cat on the defensive side as well. So, look, with that said, I'm going to give Cat a B for tonight, man. I think he was probably the best, one of the best starters. Obviously the hustle, the 19 rebounds, the shooting as well, but the free throws has been a little frustrating as well. And obviously, defensively, we have to pick it up. Rico says Knicks need to forget about the NBA Cup, NBA Buttercup game and focus on the rest of the season. Yeah, reality check, and we've definitely got to refocus now. I think we can really pick up a good win against the Magic. I think they're going to have a lot of juice to get up in that one. The 2 losers of the Cup that exit, obviously they're without Franz and they're without Paolo, though. It's a must win. We can't lose that one to the Magic. And obviously they almost beat the Bucks, so that's saying a lot about the Bucks the other night, man. I honestly think the Atlanta Hawks will probably make the NBA Cup final now and face the OKC. I think that's my tip right now, fam. I think the Hawks just booked themselves a ticket straight to the final, because I don't see the Milwaukee Bucks beating the Hawks that we saw tonight, man. The Bucks almost lost to the G League Magic squad. Charles says, not going to lie, lost a lot of confidence in this team. Brunson was absolutely atrocious. Yeah, I think styles make fights. Like I said, styles make matchups. I think, you put us against the Denver Nuggets, for example. You put us against some really good teams. You put us up against Cleveland even with Mitchell Robinson, and I think we're a really good shout to win. But you put us against teams that you don't think we should have problems with, like the Rockets, the Memphis Grizz, Dallas, the Hawks tonight. And we look human. We look human when you got multiple wings to throw at Brunson. Um, Hart's been shooting the basketball really well, but they were daring him tonight, and he was hesitating at times, and that's all it took, to get us into that funk, in that third quarter. And that's what sucks about basketball sometimes, man. That's why we love the sport. We hate it at times. The game is 4 quarters, and you can play 3 good quarters, but all it takes is one really bad quarter, and the game can be done. You have to focus. And that's what Tibbs is always preaching, man. That third quarter let us down at home, and we just didn't have an answer for that, man. Um, as Marquis says, I blame Dyson Daniels for Brunson's night. Shake my head. I mean, Dyson Daniels has been killing the league, so I'm not going to give any hate to Brunson tonight, any shade. I think Dyson Daniels is a tough cover, a one-on-one. I think we just need to make quick decisions, because the more you try to go isolation on Dyson and these wings in the passing lane, you're playing into their hands, man. So let's give the grade to OG next up. 5 of 17 and 1 of 9, man. OG's offense has come back down to earth, crashing down 11% from distance, 13 points, 6 rebounds, a steal, 2 blocks, 13 points, man, on 2 or 4 from the free throw as well. So the steal and 2 blocks was good, but 39 minutes from OG Anunoby, man. I don't blame the man for looking tired at times. I think we are relying heavily on OG Anunoby, and I think the Knicks' second biggest need, I think, is a perimeter defender, a wing defender, which is kind of crazy to say because we thought we had our wing stop. But the reality is we have a level of wing stop, but we don't have the full level. Of course, because Mikal Bridges right now, his struggles, but OG Anunoby's been holding up his end right now. So whether that's a guy like a Marcus Smart, Herb Jones, Trey Murphy, someone of that ilk, where maybe we could get Dorian Finney-Smith. I would definitely try to get involved in the Dorian Finney-Smith sweepstakes. Another body that can really defend, who's tough. Somebody who could spell OG Anunoby. I think we should be looking at that. As for the players that we currently have, Pacome Dadier is currently one of the best options, I think, to give a go, just to ease his minutes, and maybe Landry Shamet could be a guy. So look, yeah, down night from OG, man. I'm going to give OG... let me pull this grade up for OG Anunoby, and then we've got Josh Hart before we touch on the bench. And we look ahead, fam. We'll give you an update on Deuce McBride and his injury status. But yeah, OG gets a C- for me, man. But yeah, 39 minutes, he is gassed. Yeah, Abdul, we need to trade for a backup wing, definitely. And we need to be harsh, but we need to be truthful with Mikal Bridges, right? I don't care about politics. I don't care about how much trade capital we gave up. I don't care if he's boys with Jalen Brunson, best man, cousin, brother. I don't care. Godson of Leon Rose. I don't care. To function as an organization, we have to be truthful and say that this ain't working right now defensively, and we need to make an adjustment and bench Mikal Bridges if this continues. I think defensively, maybe you start him still, but you give him a quick hook. Deuce McBride comes in. We bring in the backup wing, like you said. Because one thing about this New York Knicks team is, man, we all bleed orange and blue. But if you're to play for the New York Knicks, you have to earn your keep, right? You don't just get given minutes. You don't just get given a free pass, man. You have to earn your keep. And the moment you're not earning your keep, the minutes need to go to the next guy, man, the next hungry lion, because there's minutes up for grabs right now, man. I'm kind of sick of seeing Mikal Bridges coast through ball games at times, man. And if all of they've seen enough and he's not the perimeter defender that we need, then make other plans, man. As simple as that. Make other plans, because this can't continue for the Knicks to make that deep playoff run. AP, who we have to trade? We've got options, man. We've got a 2030 pick swap. We've got the first round pick from the Washington Wizards, which is going to most likely convey into 2 seconds. We've got like 10 second round picks. After this season, we'll have another first round pick that we can trade. And then we've got the draft rights to a lot of players. We've got Rokas, we've got James Nagy, we've got the rights to those young players overseas, and we've got obviously our rookies this season as well. We could put together a trade package of some of those guys and maybe some of the bench players that we have. So yeah, I do think we've got some maneuvering we can do. Buzzer gives OG a C. Salute to you. 8-man rotations, yeah, diabolical, no doubt about it, fam. JI says bench Bridges. I don't know. What about Hart getting beat time and time again? I think all things are on the table. I mean, Hart was traditionally a bench player for me. When we traded for him, he was that energizer off the bench. I think we are relying on him a lot. But yeah, ideally I want to keep Pacome Daddier, because I think he can be a starting wing for this ball club moving forward. And look, if we need to be more patient, I'm willing to be patient. This year could be a feeling out year. I know we don't want to hear this, and we might make a nice run. We might compete for a championship this season. We might not. But I think this is a 5-year window with this ball club. So we've got options. We've got things that we can address in the off season. And as Brian Windhorst said, this club gutted at some of its depth, and we might need multiple transaction cycles to top up our depth, just like Dallas did. I think Dallas is a good example, guys. Remember, Dallas were all but dead in the water. They lost Jalen Brunson, and they had no one with Luka. They were struggling. And what did they do, man? Smart front office. They waited a few cycles. They got Kyrie Irving. First, they got PJ Washington. They got Daniel Gafford. They drafted Derek Lively. That was one cycle. And then they got another cycle. They were able to get Klay Thompson. They were able to get Dante Exum. I mean, they're able to do a lot of maneuvering. So I'm looking at Leon Rose now, and I'm saying, yeah, you want to win Executive of the Year, finish the puzzle. You made a lot of big moves, but I think he can do some more things. I think, to get us there. So Hart tonight, man, 8 of 12. He hit his free throws at least. 3 of 5 from distance. 8 rebounds, 6 assists, 21 points, -2. But yeah, defensively was out-rebounded at times, man. He's having to do a lot. And that's one of the things that Bill Daughtry was speaking on when we had him on the show earlier, saying that Hart provides you that level of grittiness, but the concern is who else is going to be, there to help him out. And I think OG's been solid and been great defensively. But in terms of effort and physicality and toughness, I think Hart's having to do a lot of that work right now to make up for that. Ideally, having a longer wing, I think, at Hart's position and putting Hart to the bench, I think is the the right call long term. So I'm going to give Hart a C+ because he battled, and I think he was the second best starter on the club today. James says, yeah, CT, we're having major problems with young athletic teams, fam. 100%. The Rockets, the Grizz, the Atlanta Hawks twice, fam. But I think we can be smarter. I think we could play to our strengths better. I think we are playing into their hands. And I think, again, think of it like a 7-game series. What would be the next game adjustment? Like, let's pretend that tonight's game, fam, was game 1 of the NBA playoffs on our home floor, opening night, game 1. Right. What would be the adjustment? What would you guys think that the Knicks should do in the next game against the Atlanta Hawks? I think the adjustment would be to play faster and shoot threes quicker. Get those threes. The more we over dribble against those wings, I think we can get into trouble. And you have to understand what the other team is strong at. And I think first half, the only thing keeping us in front was the fact that the Hawks weren't shooting well. I think that did disguise a lot of the things that were going our way. Fam, on that note, we'll give you a quick update on the locker room right now before we hit on the first grade from the bench. But let's see what these guys are saying, man. Tibbs on the refereeing. I looked at who was reffing and knew what the game would be. Oh, Tibbs is coming out with shots, man. So yeah, Tibbs on the refereeing tonight. I looked at who was reffing and knew what the game would be. And that's Jason Goebel, by the way. Jason Goebel was part of the crew that called the phantom foul in last season's Knicks Rockets game, and the referees admitted that they blew that call. Man. Jalen Brunson was asked about Trae Young standing over the Knicks logo at half court, blowing on rolling dice and picking up money like he was on the Vegas craps. And Brunson said, we should win the game if we don't want him to do that. That's a fair call on that one, man. So yeah, pathetic for the Knicks to get outrun in that third quarter, man. Brunson on the Knicks struggles from deep, affecting the defense. It shouldn't. We're all human. That shouldn't happen. At the end of the day, we can't let missed shots affect our defense. So, yeah, so Brunson basically says the Knicks should win the game if they don't want Trae Young, man, pulling off these theatrics on this one. Jalen Johnson, Dyson Daniels, I think some really solid moves that the Hawks have made. Buzzer's gone with a C- for Cat. That damn drop coverage is tough. Neymar says, I want to see Tyler Kolek play. I think that'll be further down the Tibbs priority right now because perimeter defense is one of our problems right now. I think we'll be looking to get some wing defenders in here. Or maybe start Deuce McBride, or sub him in quicker. Steve says HAWKS should stay and not go down to the G League. He did get an injury today, which is bad, but he's day to day, so it won't be too bad. Finney Smith is a good option, Steve. Definitely. Adjustment for Tibbs. What adjustment? I mean, the Knicks, to their credit, they do bounce back, when they do suffer a humiliating defeat. Usually the next game they come out with fire, man, and they did it when they lost to the Utah Jazz, and then they came out. And then they put the beat down on the Denver Nuggets. And then when they suffered a humiliating loss against the Jazz, they came out and they picked up a win after that. So, I mean, yeah, this Knicks team has pride. I think the biggest thing is we're a victim of our own complacency. We feel like we're better than what we are, and we feel like we can just overrun teams, right? But the effort has to remain for 48 minutes. That's the key. That's the key, guys. 48 minutes is key. Like I said, you could have a bad 8-minute stretch, and you lose the ball game. Only one lead change tonight. When we lost the lead, we didn't get it back. But yeah, we've got over 60 people watching with us live, man. Smash that like button. It really helps out the channel. Appreciate you guys. We shout you guys out. And Knicks Therapy here. We'll bounce back. Frustrating game to lose because I would love to see us advance in Vegas, but I think the silver lining is we get a couple days break and we get to beat up on a depleted Magic team now and get this win back in the win-loss column, and then we play no extra games now. We don't have to go to Vegas for the semifinals or the final. I think would have given more wear and tear on these bodies from the New York Knicks. So we do get a bit of a rest. We do get a bit of a break. Buzzer says, was Daddy A on the bench tonight? Yeah, he was, fam. All of the G Leaguers were called up tonight. They did play earlier in the day, but yeah, they were available on the bench. I just don't think Tibbs is trusting those guys in the big games. Now that Precious is back. But yeah, I agree. 8-man rotation sucks, man. My Christmas present, man. I don't want jewelry. I don't want a new car. I don't want new technology. I don't want a new phone. My Christmas gift this season, man, would be Tibbs to play 9-man. Man, that's all I want, man. That's all I want for Christmas, man. Is Tibbs to expand the rotation. It's going to be tough later in the season, man. These guys are going to get more banged up right now. Yeah, again, I can only hope that if Landry Shamet is that guy that he wants to play, he's the 9th guy. I don't care who it is, just play a 9th guy. Appreciate it, James. Let's get it. Yeah, I do got to get a link up for anyone that wants to donate. But yeah, you're always welcome to give us a super chat as well if you like. Or just a like button, man. Helps out the channel a lot. Like I said, this is the second loss to the Atlanta Hawks, unfortunately. So the season series is hanging on a knife's edge right now. But let's look at Deuce McBride, man. 2 of 8, 1 of 6 from Deuce. I think he's not right 100%. He was missing some time, got banged up again in this one. Hopefully he doesn't miss a game, man. Although I do think we can win without him against the Magic. But 5 points, 2 rebounds, and 3 assists, and 1 turnover from Deuce tonight. 0 in the plus minus. So I'll up the grade for Deuce tonight, man. I think he should have played more minutes still, because I still think he's our best pick and roll, navigator and our best on-ball defender for the guards. I think OG Anunoby is really good, but not guarding those smaller players like Trae Young. Deuce is usually our go-to guy, to slow down a Trae Young. So he's a guy that I think, needs to play more in these type of matchups. But I think Mikal Bridges just played too much. He was getting absolutely rinsed, in that pick and roll coverage. AP says, I'm also getting tired of seeing Tibbs with his trust issues right now. Yeah, my rationale is like to play a Daddy and a Kolek this early in the season is because now's the time to play them. When you get to the postseason, you need to have figured out who can do what. And I think early in the season, Tibbs just doesn't trust these guys when he should, even if it's for like 7-8 minutes. I think Kolek's been excellent at shooting the 3-point ball. He's been great at moving the ball as well, getting into offense quicker. Pacome Dadier, I don't know more of what Dadier needs to show, to earn trust. He's been shooting the ball well and look like a solid defender out there. I mean, if I'm keeping it a buck, Pacome Dadier has been, defending better than Mikal Bridges, on the perimeter as well. So go figure at that. But I do think there's a lot of optics, a lot of politics obviously at play. They want to give Bridges everything, all the chances to, to rectify early. The Brooklyn trade, all of that. I mean, right now we just need to be honest, and he's just not defending at the level we need right now. James Baker with the super chat. Appreciate it, James. Let's get that one up. Says, appreciate you and your work with our Knicks CT. Salute, James. Salute. Many blessings, festive season blessings to you and family as well. Great to have you with us as well. Knicks Nation rocking out tonight. You've always got the streets buzzing. And yeah, let's get that bounce back win against Orlando, man. We have a few days to think about this. And like I said, if you want a kick up the behind before the playoff games begin, I think this is a good wake up call for the New York Knicks tonight, man. All these guys left money on the table, as well as they left some pride out there. Losing to the Hawks on their home floor now. It kind of was reminiscent tonight of the Game 7 against Indiana, fam. You know, the Knicks heavy favourites tonight in the betting. I was looking at the odds tonight. I was thinking about a parlay, but I didn't because I thought you just never know. And, you know, the Knicks came back and, you know, they showed me why I'm not, you know, I'm not willing to, you know, to bet on them yet against some of these Eastern rivals because they just haven't been consistent enough, right? With that said, I think a few things need to change, and we need to understand that we can improve a whole lot and get better, especially with the decision making. Rico says Bridges needs to get the hook if he starts slow next game. I think we might be getting to that point, fam. I think there's a certain level of trust, and I respect Tibbs, the veteran coach, for having trust in his players. But even that has a breaking point where you know, not saying anyone's job's on the line yet because we're 5 games over 500. But if you continue to let the coach down, I think it reaches a certain point when you know, he has to go with an adjustment. Let's talk about Precious Achua tonight. 18 minutes. Fam, Precious gave us 1 of 2. He took a 3-pointer. He opened 3. It banked off the iron. But I like him taking that shot. He was wide open. But you know, I don't know if he's the floor spacer that we hope him to be, right? And we don't know if he's the permanent 5 that we need him to be either. I think Precious's, you know, natural position is the 4. I think though he's solid at the 5 with his length, but I don't think he's the permanent solution. So let's see what we can do. Whether whether it's Mitch returning or a center on the trade market, man. There's a lot of centers out there that's going to be available. But Precious does rebound the basketball well, but unfortunately their size was a lot to deal with tonight with Okongwu, Capella, Jalen Johnson is, you know, very long, man. And we got killed on the boards, man. We got absolutely annihilated on the glass. So I think Precious Achua, I think we saw limitations tonight, man. I'll leave it at that. You know, really nice rotation piece, but I don't think he's our answer. I don't know if we can count on Precious, you know, on a nightly basis to, you know, to win us games defensively. Right. So with that said, let me dial up the grade for Precious. Actually, I'm going back and forth. Let me settle on the same as Deuce. I'm going to give Precious a C+. Precious Achua gets a C+ tonight, man, for me. Yeah, I think we'll win against the Magic. We will win. Anarchy says Bridges is the worst Nick you don't fit. And I think the start of games was good. Tonight, the start of the game was good. Some of the slow starts have been frustrating as well, though. But I think the point of attack defense is our biggest concern, and yeah, Bridges is not the solution right now, and I think it's been misunderstood a little bit that Bridges is a bad defender, where I think he thrives off ball as a defender. He thrives getting in passing lanes, and he's been able to get steals and chase downs and all of that. He's fine in that way defensively, but on the ball, Mikal Bridges is, man, he's worse than I thought. You know, way worse than I thought at containing the ball and navigating the screen, the pick and roll on that. So look for some addressing to be done, man, with Deuce, maybe a trade as well. LB So Wavy says, I feel like Precious has butterfingers. I think at times he's had some of that with the Raptors. We haven't seen that as much with the Knicks. I think he's made improvement. But yeah, I don't think Precious is the answer for us at the 5. I think he's a solid backup, 4 and 5. I think the role that he's in, bringing him off the bench, I think is solid. I think that'll continue. But yeah, I do think Precious Achua is going to be a guy that will stay in that role 15 to 20 minutes, come off the bench, give us some energy. When we're playing really well, Precious is alive, he's active, he's juicing up the crowd. But I do think when we're struggling, you know, sometimes we need more. With that said, on Precious, before we move on, Abdul says, do you think Precious will be moved? He's eligible to be traded. Yes, he's going to be eligible to be traded soon, fam, but the date's been confused a bit. Precious won't be eligible to be traded until January 15, not December. Something to do with the CBA, because he was re-signed with the Knicks as a free agent. So a lot of players could be traded by December 15, but Precious isn't one of them, unfortunately, but he can be traded by January 15. So we just have to wait a little bit longer if the Knicks will consider that. I would prefer to keep Precious personally. I think that's an area where we can't really afford to lose depth. But if he's bringing you, if him being traded is bringing you back, a solution for the starting five, I think then you probably consider that. That's the way I look at it. But yeah, we're in a tough situation. I mean, we really need clarity on the Mitchell Robinson situation, because I think that's a big elephant in the room. We'll talk about Cameron Payne up next, because yeah, that could be one of the reasons why we need another bench scoring wing. I'm looking at TJ Warren, who's lighting it up in the G League. Chuma Akiki is lighting it up in the G League right now. And meanwhile, Matt Ryan, a player that the Knicks front office prioritized, is DNPing, man. So that's a black mark on the front office, I've got to say. Not going to kill them for it, because it's a minor move, but really you got TJ Warren lighting it up, and you got Chuma Akiki, a defensive-minded wing, and you signed Matt Ryan ahead of both of those two gentlemen as well. And Matt Ryan's not giving you anything. He's a shooter. He can't defend. Tibbs took a good look at him. He got an opportunity, and it's lights out now for Matt Ryan, fam. Pacome Dadier was better than Matt Ryan, so I don't know. I don't know the thinking there, fam. Giving a real roster spot to Matt Ryan, that's a black mark on the front office for me. Like I said, it's not a huge, it's not going to kill us. I think you move Matt Ryan to the two-way, you move him back to a two-way spot, and you make another signing ASAP. Chuma Akiki can defend, get him in. Landry Shamet, if he's available. I think that's the move to make for me right now, guys. What do you think? Is Johnny in the building? Salute. Johnny says, Tibbs have trouble with young, long, athletic teams who play good D. Yeah, I think I addressed that earlier, and I think we overpass sometimes. I think against a good defense, when you get a good shot, you have to take it. Try to avoid isolating for too long. I think that's my key. But we have a cheat code. We have Cat. We just weren't going to it enough. 6 threes. I mean, spam the pick and roll with Cat. The same way that they've been spamming the pick and roll. Bam. On that note, I'm going to bring this up, fam. You see on screen, Brunson and Cat have been the NBA's best pick and roll duo. I mean, some positive news, despite tonight's result, is that Jalen Brunson and Cat lead the league in NBA's best pick and roll. But tonight we didn't see it enough, man. There's just too much side-to-side movement, too much dribble handoff, and not enough of the pick and pop, pick and roll, where I think that's our cheat code. When you want to beat a team, you go to your cheat code. So yeah, I think we got to address that with Tibbs, fam. Now next up, Cameron Payne. Cameron Payne tonight, man. It was frustrating. 3 of 7, 1 of 4 from distance. He couldn't get loose, and I think he was trying. He was keeping his dribble alive, but yeah, they were checking him really well. 7 points tonight, and 1 of 4. That tells the story, man. The Knicks were 26% from 3, and that's not going to win you the ball game. So we've been relying on our 3-point ball a lot, and tonight it just wasn't going. Fam, it just wasn't going, and we needed to generate offense. in other ways, right? We needed to get Cat going more. And that's the problem there, ladies and gentlemen. Look at our bench, C pluses and a C. In a night where our bench, were badly needed, especially in that third quarter to give us a boost, we just couldn't get it, right? And so credit to Atlanta's defense once again. But look, every team has their bad shooting nights, and tonight was one of them. They had us in a straitjacket. Anarchy Studio, Payne is solid. He's a veteran. Yeah, I like Payne for the role that he's in. I think just some nights, where he's just not going to get it done for us, and sometimes we need more guys off our bench. And I think Tibbs should go 9-man. I mean, like I said about the front office, you sign Matt Ryan and you're not bringing him in, to shoot it all, to help us out. You're not playing Daddy, you're just sending him to the G League. So yeah, man, I'll be happy if Landry Shamet can get back soon. With that said, Jericho Sims, man, 1 minute because of foul trouble, and no Daddy, no Kolek, no Matt Ryan, no Jake Toppin, and Huck Porty wasn't on the bench due to a day-to-day ankle roll as well, guys. So that is the grades for today, right? The starting five let us down, man. Let us down. We should have won this ball game. We had control at the half, and another game that we threw away, right? But there's a lot of film to watch, a lot of things that we can draw on and do better and be better at this. We've got to make better decisions as well. My biggest disappointment of the season so far hasn't changed from 15 games ago. It's been Mikal Bridges so far defensively. I think offensively, he can be better, and there's certainly an expectation that he'll continue to get better. But defensively, all I need is wing stop, man. I think that'll change the ceiling of this team. But we just haven't seen that level of perimeter pick and roll defense that we all hoped. When we got Bridges and OG, I thought we would literally have one of the best defenses in the NBA. But how wrong were we? How wrong was I? I mean, we're not even in the top 15 right now, which is crazy to be a Tom Thibodeau team and not be top 15 at least in defense, not even top 20 right now. I mean, the refs, I don't want to waste any energy on them, but yeah, they get an F straight up. They were horrible tonight. The clear message to let things go, being overly physical. They lost control of the game as well. It was embarrassing, man. We even had neutrals tweeting out and commentating that the referees were just ridiculous tonight, man. Players were getting punched in the face, right? I get you want to allow some level of physicality, but that doesn't change that a foul is a foul, and if you don't call a foul, the players are just going to lose their heads, the fans are going to lose their heads, It's getting crazy right now. The way the NBA's quickly flipped the switch. It's like they've seen FIBA and they're like, hold my beer, FIBA. We're going to go to another level of physicality and, allow, mixed martial arts out there, So that's been crazy. And now let's look ahead, man. I mean, there wasn't many other NBA games tonight. Obviously, the other game was playing. Let's take a look at that. The Rockets looks like they're up at halftime over the Golden State Dubs, fam. Rockets 42, Warriors 33 right now, second quarter. So it looks like we're going to get barring any change, we're going to get a Rockets OKC final, semi-final, and we're going to get a Hawks Bucks semi-final, man, for the chance to earn another 100K and get to the final for 500K, right? But the frustrating thing is that this game meant something in the standings. We go to 15 and 10 right now, the same amount of losses as the Miami Heat right now. Although Miami Heat are all in the news today, Jimmy Butler looks to be on the trade block. Right, looks like Jimmy is going to get moved, man. I think it's going to happen. Does look like it. It's going to be tough to see which team can get it done, because there's a lot of teams stuck in that, that apron purgatory where there's restrictions on, taking back salary and how much you can take back and give out. Jimmy Butler, man, the Bucks are making a couple of moves. They've climbed up as well. The Knicks have failed to capitalize, but fortunately, the Orlando Magic have had injury problems as well. Because I do think if the Magic had Paolo and Franz healthy, I think they would be clear of us, man. They would be at least be a few games clear as well. So, not in a bad position. 15-10. If you had told me at the start of the season the Knicks were 15-10, I would have said, okay, slower start. That's not what I expected. 15-9 before tonight, I would have signed up for. You just never know. 6 games over 500, I would have signed for that. But 15-10 doesn't look great. Slow start, but at least our heads are above water. We haven't had an injury, a serious injury to deal with. But yeah, I think there's been too much inconsistency for a team, like the Knicks, failing to put away teams that they should be beating. Teams that we should be beating. We should have beat the Chicago Bulls. We should have at least won one of these HAWKS games, right? We should have beaten the Rockets in that one. Let's be honest. There's a couple more that I'm forgetting, man. A couple of bad losses as well. The Utah Jazz, how could I forget? Shouldn't have lost that Utah Jazz game as well. But let me know what you guys think. Would you have signed up for 15-9 at the start of the season if I had offered you 15-9? Would you have taken it? 15-10? What are your thoughts, man? You are what your record tells you. You are what your record says, man. And right now, the Bucks are only 1 game behind us. The Hawks are only 2 games behind us in the loss column. I mean, the Brooklyn Nets are only 4 games back in the loss column, man. The Knicks need to put the foot on the gas right now. And we're relying on a lot of guys, heavy minutes, which is not good for the long term right now, man. We need to get another body into the rotation. Yet Neymar agrees the referees were horrible tonight. Should the Knicks bring in Jimmy Butler? I would stay clear of that, fam. Definitely. I think Jimmy's going to go to the West Coast, though. I don't see the Miami Heat trade. I don't see Pat Riley trading Jimmy to the Knicks as well, even if they were interested. We've got a super chat from Buzzer Beater. What's up, fam? How you doing? How does Dolan feel about Mike D'Antoni? Go Knicks. There's a couple ways I look at that, man. One thing is, I think relationship-wise, I think it's all good between the two. I think there's healthy respect between Dolan and D'Antoni. In terms of the current situation right now, I don't think they would pull the rug on Tibbs for D'Antoni. I think Tibbs has a lot more, love, in the front office and cachet. But in terms of me personally, I mean, we've changed our identity. We're not a defensive-minded team. We're an offensive-minded team. So I do think D'Antoni would be better offense, a better fit for this ball club. Troy says 15-10 is shameful based on the talent on paper. And the weak East, don't forget as well, yeah. And the weak East. I think, look, it doesn't take much to go on a quick run. We've seen it a lot in the Tibbs era. The last couple seasons, the Knicks love their 8-game winning streaks, 10-game winning streaks. They usually happen later in the season, after the Knicks have made a deadline move, or the third quarter of the season kind of area. First sort of half of the season usually languish a little bit, Jekyll and Hyde. I can only hope that history repeats. And we go. But yeah, I agree with AP. We should at least be 3 to 5 games better than our record says. And we should capitalize more. look, we've suffered some injuries. Precious Achua was a tough one because he's basically missed the whole season so far, and Mitch hasn't played a single game. In theory, he's our starting center. I don't know. I know a lot of people say we can't really trust Mitch and we shouldn't be relying on him. I get that. But if you just look at talent, you just look at projected starting fives, when the season starts and the training camp, you can't deny that Mitchell Robinson on talent when healthy is a starting center for this team. And we've been without him. So it's no different to another team missing their starting center as well. I think we have to account for that. But we've treaded water. I think that's all we've done. Basically, we haven't really got ahead. We haven't fallen behind the pack. We've just basically been on a treadmill. Right? Win one, lose one. Win three, lose two. Win one, lose one. I mean, right now Tibbs is kind of failing for me. I'm not blaming the players in this situation. I think this is more centered around Tibbs. For me, I think coaches need to be smart. They need to see what they've got. They need to make adjustments. We're not seeing that. You got to make the best of what you have, and I think we have options. I mean, Bacombe Dadier's look fine. At times it's puzzling when you play him and then you stop playing him. Same with Huck Pority as well. I mean, Sims is inconsistent. He's been inconsistent for 4 seasons, but you prioritised him over Ariel Huck Pority. I think that's when the Knicks were in bad need of a rim protector and a center, and I think a guy who can deter shots and rebound. And so, yeah, for me, if I'm giving a grade, I'm giving Tibbs a C minus, a D. I think our record kind of speaks to Tibbs more so. Mikal Bridges, I get that there's struggles. What are you going to do about it? You're just going to keep throwing him out there for how many minutes tonight? 38 minutes. Are you just going to throw Mikal Bridges out there for 40 minutes and hope that a struggling player starts playing better? That's puzzling for me as well. You got to give a quick hook. I mean, Obi Toppin had a quick hook because he didn't play D. I think there's been a bit of a double standard there. Johnny's in the building with the super chat. Salute, Johnny. Appreciate you. We damn boys. And not a serendipitous game. CT piece. Appreciate it, man. And definitely we missed Clyde tonight, man. I missed Mike Breen. I missed Clyde. The vibes were just a bit off, man. I must admit. But yeah, we live to fight another day. We have tomorrow. We have a break. And let's get it. But yeah, the Hawks have our number right now, man. I can't say otherwise. They beat us twice now, both in the same kind of fashion. I think defensively they've swarmed us. They've been tenacious, and I think we need to start playing smarter, man. Get to this pick and roll more, man. We lead the league in pick and roll duo with the best offense right now. You know what they say, the best offense should beat the best defense, or good offense should beat good defense. But right now that wasn't the case, man. We weren't playing smart. JB was forcing it into the trees as well. So yeah, he needs to play smarter with this, and I think these guys will adjust, man. I think they will watch film and they'll get better, guys. So with that said, man, let's keep our heads up. 15-10, right? We're 4th seed in the East right now. Let's see what adjustments are made from the front office, the players, the coach right now. Just looking at the road ahead now, we will play Orlando, and then they'll give us another makeup game, right? According to my calculations, they've got to give it. No, that is the only makeup game, actually, fam. So yeah, the Orlando is the makeup game, and then we get that nice break, right? Minnesota next week. We got the Raptors. We got the Raptors, and then we'll have Orlando, and then no, sorry, we've played the Raptors. What am I saying? What am I saying, fam? I'm lost at the moment. We've got Orlando, and then we've got the break, and then we've got Minnesota, and then the Pelicans, the Raptors again, the Spurs, Orlando, Washington, and Washington as well. So let's capitalize, man. December is pretty kind, I think, in the schedule, man. It's a pretty soft schedule with that. Chris, I just noticed that the refs got an F rating. Absolutely, man. Salute. Salute PH as well. Salute to you. Let's get it. Buzzer says, I don't know if bringing Butler to a Cat and Tibbs team is a good idea. That's it, man. You said it. You said it, fam. But like I said, I want to know your thoughts, but I trust Leon Rose. I trust the front office, right? You can make moves. Sometimes you can admit it's just not working out, or we need to tweak things a little bit, right? That's okay, man. Sometimes you buy a new car, has some troubles. Sometimes you just need to change the tires on it, man. The car's all good. Maybe we just need to change the tires, man, and get some nice rims on this baby, on this nice ride, this nice vehicle that we have. We might just need to change the wheels, fam, and tweak some things and get things right. But right now, it ain't like we're floundering. It's just frustrating that we're kind of treading on a treadmill, not getting ahead. We're not falling back, but we'll see. Luckily, the East is weak this season, right? But I mean, strap yourselves in, guys, man. It's going to be a bumper rest of the season and playoffs, because I mean, things are wide open right now, man. I mean, I'm ready to play Atlanta in a playoff series, man. It's going to be box office if we did play Atlanta now with this tough matchup. The Bucks, I would like to see the Bucks in a series. I'm not going to lie. I think we have the Bucks number. Not trying to sound overconfident, but obviously we beat the Bucks comfortably. Maybe a team that I don't want to see in the playoffs early is Orlando, man, with Paolo, Franz. That's a matchup that's going to be tough to face as well. So, look, we have to improve. We have to change things. We have to get better. As I bring up the standings before we wrap this baby up, as the Knicks lose out on the chance to get $100,000 tonight. I know those G League guys will be frustrated. The Colex, the Daddy A's, right? The Knicks, they would have won an extra $100,000 tonight, but the Knicks just couldn't get it done, man. We felt the hype too much, and like I said, we smelt blood in the water, but we just didn't go for the kill. And a lot of bark but no bite in this club right now. So we have to correct that, right? And I think getting another rim protector at the 5, Cat at the 4 is a solution, and adjusting the perimeter defense, getting another wing defender and getting Deuce McBride active, I think, on the pick and roll defense. But Orlando, if we beat them, that's going to be a nice swing in the standings. They'll go to 11 losses. We'll go to 16 wins in the next game if we beat Orlando, and we will pass Orlando in the especially with the tiebreaker as well. So yeah, don't forget, you want that early tiebreaker over the Magic. We've already beat them once. We can beat them again and win that season series. So yeah, that's going to be key. But with that said, guys, salute. Appreciate you all for the super chats as well. We got James, Buzzerbeater, Johnny, Shezv, AP, Sandman, PH, Wall Street Dame, LB, Chris, everyone, Knicks Nation tonight. Keep it buzzing, Anarchy. Keep it buzzing, guys. We'll be back for the next one. Best believe that, Rico. And yeah, buckle up, because yeah, we got to fix what's happening right now and come back with some more fire and desire in the next one. Peace, everyone.